A coordinate graph is a graph that's made up by two number lines that intersect. The first number line is right here. It's our horizontal number line. We call this number line our x-axis. I want you to imagine that this point right here in the middle would be 0. That means all of the numbers on this side of the x-axis are going to be positive numbers, and all of the numbers on this side of the axis are going to be negative numbers. Now the second number line we have is a vertical number line. It goes this way, and we call this our y-axis. Now again, I want you to imagine that this point right here in the middle was 0. That means all the numbers above 0 are going to be positive, and all of our numbers below 0 will be negative. This point where the two number lines intersect has a very special name. It's 0 on both of our number lines, and we call this point the origin. Okay? Now when these two number lines intersect, it creates 4 sections in our graph, or 4 quadrants. And the quadrants are numbered 1 through 4, starting in this quadrant right here. This is quadrant 1. Then they're going counterclockwise, so this would be quadrant 2. Over here we'd have quadrant 3. And finally, we have quadrant 4. Now a coordinate graph can be used to help us locate points anywhere in this area. Okay, so for example, when we go to identify a point, we have something that we call an ordered pair. An ordered pair is going to be made up of 2 coordinates. The first number is what we call our x-coordinate, and our second number is our y-coordinate. Now our x-coordinate, the one that always comes first, will tell me how far along the x-axis I'm going to move. So it's going to tell me how far either to the right or the left I'm going to go from the origin. We always start at the origin. Now the y value moves us along our y-axis. That one's going to tell us how far up or how far down we're going to move. Okay, let me give you an example. We can use coordinates to help us find places on a coordinate graph. So the first place I want to look for is our school. Okay, if I look for my school, I see the school is located right here. So the first thing I want to think about is how do I go from the origin to the school? I'm going to go across the x-axis first. So I'm going to move 2 spaces to the right, and then I need to go 1 space down. Those are my coordinates, those directions. So 2 spaces to the right means I'm going to have an x value of 2. And then from there, I'm going to go 1 space down, which means I'm going to have a y value of -1. The negative shows that I'm going down to where my negative numbers are. Remember, this is 0, so positive numbers would go above it, negative numbers would go below it. The reason it's +2 is from my origin I move to the right, which is where my positive numbers are. So this is 2 to the right, and then the -1 means 1 unit down. All right, let's look for our library. Our library is over here. So this time, from my origin, I'm going to see that I'm going to go to the left, which means I'm going to go to the negative units, and then I'm going to go down, which again will be negative. So let's figure out how far left. In order to get to the library, I'm going to go 1, 2, 3 units to the left. So I'm going to represent that with a -3. That -3 means I'm going 3 to the left. Now the next part about it is I need to figure out how far down to go to get to the library. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4 units down. 4 units down, again, that's in our negative numbers, so I'm going to write that as a -4. So to get to the library, I'm going to go left 3 and down 4. So that's -3, -4. I'll clean this up a little bit. Now let's try to get to our bank. Our bank is here. Now the bank's a little bit tricky. So again, from my origin, I need to figure out how far to the left and how far up. Well, the up part's easy. That's just 1 unit up. But to the left, I'm going to go 1. I'm not going to go quite 2. I'm going to go to here. So that's going to be 1.5 units to the left. Remember, to the left is negative, so this is -1.5 units. And then I'm going to go up 1 unit. Since it's up, that's in my positive numbers. So negative 1.5, comma 1. Negative 1.5 means 1.5 to the left. The positive 1 means I'm going to go up 1 to my positive numbers. And finally, let's look at our post office here. Our post office is way up here. So again, to get to the post office, I'm going to go to the right 2 places. To the right 2 places means I'm going to go positive 2, and then I need to go up to my post office. So it's going to go 1, 2, 3, not quite 4, a little more than 3.5, so I'm going to call this 3 3/4. And because it's above the x-axis, we're going to call that a positive 3 3/4. So this was 2 to the right, positive 2, up 3 3/4 because it's positive 3 3/4. Now, in addition to writing coordinates for places that are already on our coordinate graph, we can also put dots and locations on our coordinate graph. So the hospital. The hospital is at negative 4, comma 3. Negative 4 means I'm going to go 4 units to the left. Positive 3 means I'm going to go 3 units up. So from my origin, negative 4 is 4 units left. 1, 2, 3, 4. My positive 3 is going to be 3 units up. 1, 2, 3. So right here is where my hospital should be. So I'm going to take this picture and put it right next to that dot to label the hospital.